You can learn a lot about a person on the first date. If you see red flags, those are warnings. They need to be heeded. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? I'm Christopher Markland, and welcome to my review/analysis of episode 4 of season 4 of Ready to Love. As always, I do not just repeat, regurgitate, recycle, redo, whatever you want to call it, all of the stuff on the show that we've already seen. Instead, what I use are the people and the scenarios as examples of things to do or not do, or things to look for when it comes to dating in this modern world that we live in. So if you like what I'm doing and you like how I do it, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because, hey, we're going to be doing it every week.
Let me tell you something. Me and my wife was dating. Dude, my wife can dance her butt off. I can't dance at all. You can imagine I'm trying to keep up with her because, you know, I'm falling for her, but I'm like, she gonna drop me because I can't dance. That's what.
Dating is all about being intentional, even when it's uncomfortable. We talked about this on the last CM show, where the conversation was, do you know how to date? A lot of times people don't want to put themselves in situations where they can be rejected. So instead, what they do is they pick up the phone and swipe right, swipe left, because you're in control of that, of that meeting and interaction with the person. Now, with dating, however, it's painful. Walking along that path is risky because the path is uneven. You never know what your next step is going to be. And what can happen is you could stumble, you could fall, you could hurt yourself. But that is the trail, that the path that you have to take if you really want to have love. It's uncomfortable, but it's a journey that has to be taken, and you have got to get out of your comfort zone in order to make that journey.
Okay.
Sometimes we just gotta teach each other.
Okay.
Let's
I
do
like it. I like it. I love it.
Come on.
You guys all know Frank gives me butterflies, but all I need to know is, can we connect on an emotional level and deeper than physical? So I was really excited to see where those butterflies led on a different connection.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like there's something missing between this episode and the previous one. It's kind of jarring to hear her say to us, the audience, y'all know that Frank gives me butterflies. No, the hell I don't. I didn't see that. The last time I saw them was at the mixer, and they, obviously everybody was mingling together. At the happy hour last week, once again, everybody was together, but I haven't seen anything between now and then to say that those two have made that kind of connection to where he's giving her butterflies and all of that. I'm not quite sure where it came from. I'm not knocking it, don't mind you. I'm just saying, I don't know where that came from. It just seemed to come out the blue.
I mean, I'll get to that in just a second, but I want to let you know this, and I hope you take this sincerely.
Okay.
Though you may not have felt it, out the gate, you were my first initial connection.
Okay.
And not only that, there's a lot of things about you that I really, really enjoy.
Again, where did this come from? I get it. You can see Frank is feeling her. Y'all, this is a prime example of reality show editing. Like I said, I haven't seen where Frank and Aisha have interacted in such a way as to where he is feeling her the way that he is. It's kind of weird to see. It's like, man, I'm just feeling, bruh. We didn't see it last week on while they're at the mixer. We didn't see it the week prior when they were at, no, the mixer was the first week. Last week was at happy hour. I didn't see any of those type of interactions as to how they are feeling each other the way that they are right now.
When it comes to just how you present yourself, I feel I'm gonna be confident beside you. Also, I love the fact you're confident by yourself. The other aspect that's really huge for me, is the motherly aspect, right?
Yes, I love that.
You know, I know you got a boy and a girl, so you're well-rounded. I know it's 13 and 15. These are things that I pay attention to.
All right, couple of things. Obviously, you can tell that they have communicated with each other, because Frank not only knows how many kids she has, but the ages of the kids and all of that. That's a good sign. I am a firm believer in that when you first meet out somebody, as y'all meet someone and as y'all are feeling each other out, getting to know each other better, pick up the damn phone and call that person. Don't text them. Don't and not even FaceTime initially. I mean, I get it. I'd much rather you FaceTime than text. But if you can just pick up the phone and call them to where you get to know that person. Like I said, in those times, that's when you get to know their sense of humor, because everybody's sense of humor is not the same. Some people are silly, some people are sarcastic, some people are sardonic, whatever the case may be. Everyone has a different type of sense of humor. And the only way you can really get to know their sense of humor, for instance, is by having a conversation with them. That's one. The second thing is, I get that he's feeling her, and I hope like hell he's being genuine, because to me, it seemed to be a bit much, like he was laying it on really thick. And maybe, if he's feeling her like that, cool. I'm a firm believer in that a man knows fairly quickly when he's feeling a woman, when he's really knows that there's something about her, something different, and he's really attracted to it. I get it. However, from what we've seen, this is their first true one-on-one date. Yeah, they may have had phone conversations, but this is their first real one-on-one date. And for him to be putting it on like this, it feels performative. I'm hoping he's genuine. If he's really digging her like that, cool, fine. But it's a lot to be putting out there on the first official date.
I'm glad I'm here with you.
I'm glad. Now you're gonna get my big smile.
I love it. I'm having fun.
Indeed. You want another round?
Yes, let's do one more.
Let's do one.
Okay, it seems like they're having a great date, but to me, something that I just saw, and it seems to be a little bit off, was their eye contact, or should I say the lack thereof. Throughout that entire little snippet that I just played, if you go back and look at it, she does not make eye contact with him throughout that entire thing. Now, he's looking at her. There's that intensity there. He holds her, snatches her head, gives her a kiss on the cheek and all of that, but not throughout that entire thing did she turn and look at him in return. Now I get it. There's a screen in front of them in that little photo booth thing, so she can see everything, throughout the screen, but that's not the same as giving that person that direct eye contact. That's something we're going to be talking about throughout this video as well. Giving that person that direct eye contact is something that she did not do. Now, don't get me wrong, with the kiss, she didn't recoil in horror like, she didn't do none of that. You could tell that she was, enjoying the moment, but the energy that he was giving her, from what I saw, wasn't reciprocated. It was kind of interesting to watch that. And if I'm missing it, when y'all rewatch it, let me know if I'm off base on this one.
I think it's mutual, the way we feel about each other. We're definitely bringing out the fun, the joy, the happiness within each other. Also the sexual energy. It's all there. All the things you want to strike on, to start out a relationship, I'm seeing. Get it, girl, get it, girl.
I'm seeing something so much different. It's like he is feeling her, obviously, but the eye contact on her part is not there. Like I said, you can tell she's having fun. She's enjoying the moment. He is looking at her, almost pleading with his eyes for her to look at him, so that way they can have that moment. When you know what it is, when you look into that person's eyes and y'all read everything that's popping, that is something that is so intense. It's almost like he's looking at her, pleading for her to make that eye contact so they can make that bond. Speaking of bonds, there is a physical thing. Now she's literally sitting in his lap. They're touching each other. They're playing. They're laughing. So they have a physical connection, but it seems almost like she's holding back to make sure that she doesn't make that deep eye contact with him. And it's something there. Now, maybe that's a protective mechanism. Maybe she wants to make sure that she doesn't go too far. She's trying to, maintain that barrier, if you will. So maybe that's it. That's my interpretation as I read that scene. But it's just that connection like that just doesn't seem to be there.
When I saw Tyrone, I knew that we would need to discuss the elephant in the room. I wanted him to understand where I was coming from, because I felt like I was mishandled, and he could have treated me better than that.
Again, this is one of those situations where it seems like something is missing. Now, in this particular one, I went back and watched the last episode, and I saw when all the ladies were in the ladies' lounge with Tommy, Carrie relayed back to Tommy that she and Tyrone had a conversation where Tyrone was saying, hey, I'm not interested in pursuing anything further with you. If that's what that man did, that's really all there is to it. What more is there to say? He's not interested, and that's really about it. I'm trying to understand why there's a need to go on a date for closure. That doesn't make sense to me.
I like the fact that you showed genuine interest in me, right? So then a lot of things just started to go downhill with the aggressiveness and like.
Let me know about the
Okay,
aggressiveness.
let me explain.
Okay.
Okay, so if Tyrone isn't interested in pursuing something with her, and he honestly, openly, straightforward, forthrightly said, hey, I'm not interested in pursuing something with you, what is the point of this non-date? Why is there this need for closure? I'm a firm believer in that so many people waste time looking backwards because they need closure from a past relationship, that instead of them looking ahead and being able to start and focus on a new relationship. If Tyrone's not interested in you, there are 8 men left on the show. Okay, so if that is the case, you need to focus on the 7 men that you may have a potential connection with. Instead, she's spending time on that non-date, trying to get closure, quote unquote, from Tyrone, when she instead could be working to get an opening with one of the other men that are on the show who may actually be interested in pursuing something with her.
I did get someone else's number, and like through the corner of my eye, like I can see like a little bit of body language, may have looked like disappointment.
Okay.
And I started to notice some things about you and how you show your feelings. To me, it just kind of made me uncomfortable.
Just like we know fairly quickly that there's something about a woman that we do like, we also know just as quickly that there's something about her that we don't. Keep in mind, Tyrone just got out the military, and me being serving in the Army myself, I know that I learned a lot of things in my time in the military, and one of those things was threat assessment. It may sound crazy, but what you learn is how to recognize potential problems, weaknesses, and certain situations, and then you learn also how not to put yourself in a situation that you may not be able to get your ass out of. That's one of the reasons, if you notice, a lot of people that served in the military, we back our cars in. The reason being, we want to be able to get the hell out and dip in case there's a problem, right? You ain't got time to be backing out. No, you park in such a way that you can get the hell on. If Carrie sees certain, if Tyrone sees certain things in Carrie off the bat that lead him to believe that, yeah, this ain't a good situation. I don't like how she's moving right here. And quite honestly, I don't have time for it, nor do I need to put up with it. And then he lets her know, hey, this ain't necessarily something that I want to pursue. I enjoyed our time together. Thank you. I'm good. Red flags present themselves pretty early on. The problem is a lot of people see those flags, they recognize them as being potential issues, they just don't take heed of the warning. Tyrone saw something he didn't like, and he said, yeah, I'm good.
Let's go back to you saying the aggressive part, because I don't like that word.
Okay,
I showed interest in you.
okay.
It wasn't aggressiveness. Just like Shiloh gave you her number, it's the same way I gave you my number.
Okay.
So it's the same thing.
Okay.
But I didn't feel any type of way because I already knew she liked you.
Okay.
She's on this date seeking closure. I get it. That's my word, not hers. That's what I'm using to describe whatever the hell it is she's trying to accomplish. She asked him, hey, why did you move the way that you did and say what you said? This man answered her question clearly. I saw something in you. I saw how you handled the situation. I didn't like it. And to me, I saw the potential long-term problem. So therefore, I graciously am saying, hey, you know what? No, thank you. I'm not interested in pursuing you. Now, she latched on to one word that he used, ignored everything else that he said, and went all the way back to say, well, you call me this and I don't think I'm this and blah, blah, blah. So I get it. Y'all, I'm a writer. I write and I use words, specific words, in order to paint a picture in my reader's mind. I know how valuable using the right word in the right situation can be. However, in this case, it's like she's trying to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, when in reality, what she needs to do is take the L graciously. Tyrone could have easily just been like, led her on or played with her or not told her honestly how he felt, which would have been a problem on his part, but he didn't. My man was open, honest, mature, and said, hey, I'm not feeling you, at that point, there's nothing left to be said. What else is there to say?
Are you still interested? So I see it the next morning. I don't have that answer first thing in the morning, but I just felt like there's really no good time to say that I like more people than you.
He saw the first red flag at the mixer. All right. Then he got the second one with that late night text. My man didn't wait for red flag number 3. No, she's out. And he didn't play with her. He didn't lead her on. He didn't ignore her and just, fade away, ghost her or whatever. No, he had the conversation and said, hey, I'm not interested in you. We don't always get who we want. That's not what life is. Going all the way back to what I said, the journey to love is bumpy. It's uncomfortable. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to hurt yourself. That's what love is about. You don't always win at the game of love. And sometimes you have to realize, you know what? Thank you. I learned a lot from you. I enjoyed our time together, and you go on about your business.
I'm glad these characters were revealed because I knew I don't need to put my energy into this at all, and to kind of switch my mindset on the person who I was connecting with. You do your thing, and I hope it works out for you.
Again, whose idea was it to go on this date? If the man is not interested in moving forward with you, then what is the point of them even having this conversation? Again, for the people way over there in the back, I'm going to say it again. Women control the WAP, men control the walk. If he is not interested in pursuing something serious with you, something long-term, something that could eventually end in marriage or a long-term commitment, but preferably a marriage, if he's not interested in doing that, if the man is not interested in pursuing that with you, there is nothing left to be said, because all you're going to be doing is wasting both of your time and you're setting yourself up for heartache. If he literally says to you, hey, I'm not interested in pursuing something with you, then that's it at that point. Stop focusing on him and instead focus on the other 7 men that are still there and look to build something with one of them.
Keep this PG. Keep this PG. Camille has a soft spot for Cornelius, which is why I set it up for like this. So, Cornelius, you owe me one, bro. You owe me one.
I am not a fan of group dates, and I'm damn sure not a fan of the way Corey moves. I don't understand why this guy does what he does. If you know that Camille is interested in Cornelius, and you know that Cornelius has a connection with Courtney, why the hell would you invite Courtney on this date? What is the point of that? There are 8 women, being that Camille's already there. There are 8 other women that you could have invited on this group date. Don't get me wrong. A couple of them women have written them off. Cool. However, you could have invited one of them in order to maybe try to reset things, maybe try to rekindle, have them see a different side of you, maybe build something back up. But instead, he invites Courtney on this day. It makes no sense to me. I know I said it all the damn time when it comes to how Corey moves. It makes no sense.
Are we waiting for another person?
That's it.
Ain't nobody else
This
coming.
it. This it. It's just me and you, and Cornelius is my wingman.
Nah.
Your wingman?
There you go. Hey.
I was a little bit leery.
What's going on?
I know it's like a broken record. It makes no sense. Now, maybe that's just his sense of humor. He's joking around, clowning around, whatever. But if you've got a group of adults and you know that there may be some contention between one adult and the other, why the hell would you put them together and then not tell the other adult who is asking you directly, hey, is it just going to be us? That was your cue to be, as a mature person, be like, no, somebody else is coming at the very least, and then be honest and say, no, Courtney's coming as well. In fact, she should be here shortly. Instead, you say it one time and then double down. No, it's just going to be us. You don't put people in them situations. You don't know what kind of beef them two may have or whatever. Why would you do something like that? That's immature to say the least.
Hey. I was a little bit leery.
What's going on?
Hi. That's enough. Because I know that Courtney and Cornelius had their previous connections. But I knew it was still going to be a great time because it was a chance for me to connect with Cornelius again.
Confidence is key to dating, whether you're a man or a woman. Camille's comments while Courtney and Cornelius are hugging are just the opposite of a confident woman. In fact, it speaks more to Courtney's confidence because think about it. She walked in late, walked right by Camille, and Courtney jumps up and gives her this big old hug, right? Letting you know he's happy to see her. Now, while they're hugging, Camille is like, that's enough, that's enough. They both basically ignore the hell out of her, continue their hug, and then they finally break apart. That is the confidence on Courtney's part. Like, yo, I walk in late, this dude's there. Yeah, I'm going to be the center of attraction as far as he's concerned, regardless of how long y'all two been here. Think about it. Those two had been there. Those two specifically being Camille and Courtney had been there together. Camille and Cornelius, Those two had already been there. That time was the opportunity for Camille to get closer to Cornelius, but instead that time was wasted. She didn't use it to her advantage because as soon as Courtney walked in, it was game over.
Are you jealous?
What?
Them skating?
I mean, no, I mean.
What you mean?
No, I'm just.
Insecurity is never cute, no matter how attractive the body of that insecure person may be. If you have that person that you're interested in one-on-one, why would you then point out the other person that may be your potential competition? Instead of you focusing on the person that you have in front of you and using that as an opportunity for you to get to know them, and then more importantly, using that time for them to get to know you, to see just how much of a good person you are, how much of an asset you can be in their life just as much as they can be one in yours, so how you two can work together. Instead, you're going to point out, in this case, Courtney, are you jealous? That is about the stupidest thing. You will never increase your shine by trying to diminish someone else's. Insecurity is not cute. It's actually a red flag.
You know, Corey's a capitalist, so he was clapping and stomping and party hopping, and it's just all over the place.
As annoying as Corey is, the dude is not unlikable. Think about it. We've had some people, both men and women, that have come on the show and you just know instantly, like, man, that's just not a likable person. You know, they just don't seem to have any redeeming qualities. It's like some are just mean, some are just, just negative personalities. And it's like, you just don't, you can see that they can be exhausting and emotionally draining to be around. Corey doesn't have that. He's misguided as hell. He's immature as hell, but at the end of the day, he seems to be a pretty likable guy. Now, how genuine he is, he may be a con artist. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's not unlikable.
You gotta push a little bit, girl.
Oh, okay, I gotta push a little bit.
A little bit. Gotta be
I
trying.
can't just lay there.
So I just can't lay there? Boy, if that's not hypocritical. So the same person last episode, if you remember, she was calling Walter and Courtney freaks because they dared to be open and honest about how important sex was in a relationship, and how much they needed to have sex, and it was important to them, and they were adults talking to other adults about the adult need in a relationship. I get it. Remember, Tasia, she was kind of sort of in a similar situation last episode. And she was like, hey, I don't like talking about sex in a mixed setting. It's between me and the person or, that I'm engaged in sex with. That's fine. But she wasn't casting judgment on the other people in the conversation. That just wasn't the way she moved. So now here it is. Camille, on the other hand, was like, just clutching her pearls. Just, my Lord, how could they be? But now you see, now she's throwing out a suggestive comment here, a little innuendo there, but that's cool though.
I know you have mentioned that you like waiting. Did you have to think about it?
No.
Okay. So have you ever thought, like, because you've waited and then that night comes and then it's just like terrible?
No, that's definitely not happening.
So of all the things they could be talking about, this is a topic. I get it. I know that this is something that's pushed by the producers in order to make the show more titillating, more exciting. I understand. But if they've already had several conversations and she's already hinted about them FaceTiming and him with his shirt off and all of that, again, let me clutch the pearls, but whatever, right? If I know that it's part of the reality show mix, I get it. It's just annoying as hell. It just makes me roll my eyes because of all the other things that they could be talking about that would be more conducive to moving the show forward and making it more entertaining. They instead go for more titillating. It's like, come on, man, that's low-hanging fruit.
What about bank accounts? What does that look like?
Do you have student loans? Is that part?
Hell, do I? With 2 masters, the bachelor's.
God.
Yeah. So people always say like, you're gonna carry those to your grave. So I'm not.
Nah, we ain't trying to carry that.
Okay.
I like to be debt free.
So you're debt free?
No debt.
So not even a pause. She doesn't even catch her breath and inhale before jumping from the topic of sex directly into the topic of money. Y'all, I champion that there are 3 things you need in a relationship: sex, finances, communication. So I fully understand how important it is to have the conversations about sex, to have the conversations about money, and of course having the conversation, which is communication. However, this is not the first time, because if you recall, on the first day that her and Walter met, she brought up the subject of money and what's your credit score. Here it is now. This is number 2. This is her second date with Cornelius. Remember, they had it last week, and here it is. She's asking, so what about money? Y'all, there's a great poem written by a fantastic poet. You may be familiar with it. I'm gonna read you guys a passage. Hold on, please. Here we go. Now, I'm not saying she's a gold digger. However, she's not messing with a broke nigga.
You just put your money in savings and
Yep. Investments, 401k, IRAs.
Okay, that's great. Having the conversations with Cornelius definitely put an extra check in the pick-me box. At this point, I feel like I'm ready to love Cornelius.
Y'all know I'm from Jamaica, and Jamaica's produced some fantastic people. Hell, look at me. But we've also produced some fast people, some of the fastest people in the world. Usain, Shelly Ann, a long list of others, right? So I honestly think that Cornelius would be well served to go to Jamaica, get some of that training in order to build up his speed, so that way he can run away from Camille as fast as possible. If this woman is telling you, yes, I have not 1 degree, her master's, but I got a 2nd master's and all of the debt that comes with that. So I have all that debt, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get another degree. I'm going to go get my doctorate and get even more debt. And I'm going to bring that to you, even though you're literally telling me here that you are living a debt-free lifestyle, meaning you've worked hard to get to where you don't have any debt. But I'm going to bring that over to you, and I want you to take on my debt and be happy in the process. Bruh, that is a warning sign. Run, run, run.
From day one, my interest with Camille has been strong. The fact that she has taken such a interest to me to the point where she doesn't want anybody else to be around me enough, it's very flattering. At the same time, I have to definitely keep watch, make sure it doesn't get on the other side of possessiveness, because I still want to get to know several other young ladies as well.
We saw how Tyrone handled the red flags that he perceived with Carrie. He saw how she moved, didn't like it, and said, hey, you know what? I'm good, love. Enjoy. All right? Nothing wrong with that. That's what you're supposed to do. He didn't lead her on. He didn't do any of those things. He didn't ghost her. He manned up, was like, yeah, no, thank you. Now, just the opposite we have here with Cornelius. This man recognizes there's a red flag, recognizes there's a problem. However, he's flattered by the attention, so he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let it get out of hand. Yeah, you cannot control that down the line if you do not control it up front. If you see problematic behavior, if you do not address it up front and say, hey, I see what you're doing there. I don't like that. I don't like no clingy woman. I don't like people. I don't like that. If you don't address it up front, you're not going to be able to control that monster that it's going to metastasize into if you do not get a hold of it now. And he's not doing that. He's going to have some problems on his hands.
I'm still on the fence about Corey. You know, he was just being his usual self, just over the top. I like the man that I'm dating to just be cool, you know, and just be chill and just be kind of like swaggy. I don't need you doing too much to try to impress me.
Insecurity manifests itself in a bunch of different ways. And one of those ways, especially for us dudes, is doing too much. Y'all remember way back when we were kids and we'd be pulling little girls' hair or pushing and shoving. That's because we didn't know how to handle those emotions and we were insecure about being hurt. So the only thing that us men, us boys could do was to physically show how we cared about somebody by doing too much, right? Instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm feeling you. I like you. However, we were not mature enough to be able to articulate our feelings in a logical way. Corey is essentially doing the same thing right there. Yes, he likes Courtney, but instead of maturely approaching her and saying, yo, I'm feeling you, I likes you, I wants you. Instead of doing that, instead he's just doing too much in order to try and get her attention. And plus he does that with all the other women too. He does so much in order to get them to like him as opposed to being himself and getting them and having the women like him for who he truly is.
Time period where you want to just linger on. Oh, you're getting close?
I'm trying to get in a good position so that I can give you my undivided attention and not roll away.
Is this position good enough for you?
Does it make you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Okay, so this is a good enough position.
Okay, you got me blushing. Okay.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what it is about that dude, man. I mean, looking past his insecurities, one thing you cannot say is that man is not confident. Now, as creepy as that is, as cringy as it is to watch, you gotta say that the dude is confident. Now, there have been plenty of people who are confident and then people follow behind them even though they are confidently wrong in what it is they're doing. So you can be a confident leader. That doesn't mean that you are a good leader or essentially a good person. There's a lot more to Corey, and I really want to see what develops with this dude. But like I said, you cannot knock his confidence because you got to be confident as hell to do some of the stuff that he does.
So tell me something. What is it that you're looking for in a wife?
I'm looking for a lifetime commitment, someone that truly understands that this is it. That this isn't no, it's been bad, I'm out. We ride together, we die together, love us for life.
I like that.
You got to give Courtney props for how she handled that situation because she's just as confident as he is. Now, she could have easily been thrown off guard because of how he was moving, but instead she stayed centered, asked him the questions that she needed the answers to, and that in turn forced him to go back and center himself, and they were able to move forward. So she wasn't moved by what he was trying to do. He was like, yeah, does this make you uncomfortable? She's like, no, not really, but you know, hey, it's making me blush. I mean, of course, I'm a woman, you're a man, it is what it is. But even with all of that, she didn't get too flustered. Like I said, she stayed centered, asked those questions, and he actually opened up and answered them. That was, as crazy as it sounds, they are each other's matches. Because remember, Courtney essentially did the same thing to Cornelius last episode, where she knows that if she touches Cornelius this way, or if she puts her whatever, that makes him blush and throws him off. Corey, it's a lot of damn C characters. Anyway, Corey essentially did the same thing there. They are each other's matches. It's going to be interesting to see them two moving forward.
When I found out that I was finally getting a chance to see you today, I rushed as fast as I could to try to do something that would bring an extra smile to your face. And I went and picked up these for you.
Oh, thank you.
Boy, that dude is good. Yo, you have got to be intentional when it comes to dating. The problem is, before I even get into that, you have to be intentional when it comes to dating. Think about it. He went, bought the flowers, gave it to the lady behind the counter, said, hey, when I do this, you give her the flowers, whatever. So it was cool as hell how he did it. The problem is he lacks the sincerity overall to let such a something like that feel genuine, because he does all this extra shit. It's one of those things where he plays the role of a ladies' man, but he plays that role so well, it's like he doesn't know how to get out of character.
You are sneaky. I definitely think Corey is a charmer. He definitely showed me a side of him that I want to get to know better, so we'll see. I love flowers.
Sometimes it's the little things that mean the most. We live in an age where dudes are buying Birkin bags and Bugattis as tokens of appreciation. If you can afford it, hey, I ain't knocking it that much. All I'm saying is you don't have to break the bank in order to show someone how much you appreciate them. You know, it's the little things. And it's not even the type of flowers. You know, he didn't give her white roses or none of that nonsense. But instead, what he did was he gave her is how the flowers were presented. You know, he's like, hey, you know how I feel about you and blah, blah, blah. Boom, old girl presented the flowers to Courtney. Yo, that was a cool move, a nice gesture. That matters more than if they were expensive flowers flown in from Italy or some nonsense like that.
The thing I love about Walter is the conversation is just so diverse. We really, really enjoy talking to each other, like just about life.
Sex, finances, communication. You've got to be able to communicate with your partner, with the person you're dating. And of course, communicating, meaning being able to hold a conversation. You don't have to talk about deep topics and all of that. Sometimes you can just talk about insignificant fluff. You might just be talking about a reality show on the OWN network. It doesn't have to be something so important or world changing. No, it's just being able to have the give and take of conversation where you say something that sparks a thought with them and then you're volleying back and forth. That's what it takes in order to really, really build a solid relationship.
What are these?
Altissimo climbers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So you know a lot about flowers?
No, I just like snuck and read one of the joints.
You said it with such confidence.
Again, confidence is key. Now, you may be confidently bullshitting your way through an answer like you saw what Walter did right there, but it also shows that he's able to not take himself too seriously. He could have easily just said, yes, I know a lot about flowers and BS and all that other stuff. But instead, he's like, no, I'm just kidding. I just read the sign. And it's kind of similar to Sabrina in the first episode. Remember when she was talking about, not the first or second, but remember when she was talking about her being from Korea and this, that, and the third? She could have easily BS'd her way and said, oh, I'm not familiar with that song when Tyrone started speaking in Korean. Or said something, well, my Korean's not that good. What does that mean? And played it off, you know, but she didn't. She's like, hey, you know what? Shit, I don't know Korean like that. Laugh it off. You don't have to take yourself seriously. But you can be confident like how we saw Walter was in that situation.
Because I want to be there every day. My dad wasn't around when I grew up. My dad left when I was 2. He lives in the Philippines. He says happy birthday on Facebook.
Well, what do you think about trying to connect with him?
I've tried on several occasions.
Man, Walter has been through a lot. You know, first the passing of his wife, and now, you know, his relationship with his father. Dude's been through a lot, but the fact that he's able to talk about those things, yes, they happened well in his past, but you can tell that he's done the work, aka therapy. Y'all know I'm going to talk about it. We are the sum of our previous relationships, be it relationships that we volunteered to be in, meaning, hey, I want you to be my wife, and you know, she wants him to be her husband, or the ones that we ain't have nothing, we ain't have no choice in the matter, meaning that is my father, that, you know, in Walter's case, he ain't had no choice about who his dad was, who his mother was. It is what it is. Those relationships shape us, whether we're in them or whether we came from them. And if they may be broken, they may be damaged, if you do not get the work to repair yourself from those past relationships, you will not be ready to love in your future ones.
My father and I, we're not super close.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we were, but we're not. And I think it's had a major effect in like the men that I was attracted to and what I was looking for.
So you like older men because of it?
I mean, actually, yeah. But at the same time, I've done what I needed to do to make sure that the little girl's not leading, you know what I mean?
Again, if you do not do the work to resolve yourself of the previous relationships, your past relationships, you cannot be ready for the future ones. What happens then is you use people who may not be the best options, who may not be the healthiest options. You use those people to fill those voids inside yourself. And what you end up doing is you not only cause damage to yourself, to your heart, to your individual makeup, but you also potentially can damage them as well. If they're going into a situation with good faith, thinking that everything's all good, and then your traumas instead cause them to now become damaged, what happens when they meet the next person? It's gonna snowball. So you have got to do the work to make sure that you are the best possible version of yourself before you enter into a new relationship.
Ooh. But I like meditation and breathing.
Oh, are you good at that?
Meditation, yes.
You're gonna have to show me how to meditate.
Okay, it's like quieting of the mind.
I don't know how to do that.
I know.
You're not supposed to
You told me. You say you be busy, you don't like sleep.
So how do you feel about the mixer? How do you feel like walking in?
I like that dude Phil. His swag falls in between Naeem and Walter. I think Walter is a little bit more gregarious. He's a little bit more energetic, whereas Naeem is a little bit more level. And Phil is like right there in between. I like the interaction between Shiloh and Phil right there. Honestly, that's my sleeper couple. I kind of see them two, getting their connection getting stronger. Just the way they're interacting with each other right there. You could see that, there was still a relaxed comfort level between them, but there was also the necessary tension that you need in order to really, that excitement, that spark. I felt it in their interaction. I really want to see how far those two go.
So how do you feel about the mixer? How do you feel like walking in?
It was good. I was just kind of overwhelmed a little bit at first, but really I'm looking to create a connection with someone. I want a life partner. This is the start to that, I think.
Oh, if this is the start to that, all right, cool.
Oh.
Now, compare the eye contact between Shiloh and Phil. Compare that to the lack of eye contact between Frank and Aisha. There's a huge difference. If you notice, Frank and Aisha, they were all over each other, but there was no eye contact. With these two, between Phil and Shiloh, the eye contact is there, and even though they were sitting further apart on that couch, the intensity of their connection was more palpable than that between Frank and Aisha. It's about the eye contact. It's about all of those things. They say that the eyes are the windows into the soul. So if you're making eye contact with that person, they're picking up all that you're putting down. You are able to say so much with those eyes. Just as I'm looking at you right now, it's like, God damn, he's looking right at me. You feel it. Those two, specifically Frank and Aisha, it wasn't there. Frank was trying to make the eye contact. However, Aisha was not reciprocating.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Have you made any connections while you've been on your journey?
I think there's some really great men in our group. But, I've made some good connections. I'm trying to connect with you too.
I'm right here.
When I first watched this interaction between Dante and Carrie, I thought that it was just par for the course as far as Dante not being a good conversationalist. But as I watched it, I realized Dante just doesn't like Carrie. If you notice, when Carrie leaned forward and tried to grab his hands, he didn't move. He didn't take her hands in his. He didn't do anything. He was like just an unemotional rock when it came to her. She tried again by saying, hey, I'm trying to make a connection with you. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. There was no warmth. There was no anything. So it's not necessarily that he doesn't know how to hold a conversation. It's more he just doesn't want to hold a conversation with her.
Have you made some connections?
I have.
Okay. So what do you like? What do you want? Do you want me?
I'm
I'm kidding. So, do you want to be married?
Married, yes.
Men hunt when it's something that they want to pursue. Carrie made it be known. There was no ambiguity in how she said, hey, I want to make a connection with you. However, you could tell that Dante just was not interested in making a connection with her for whatever reason. I still stand by my assessment, though, that dude doesn't know how to hold a conversation, because of everything that I've seen up to this point, I have yet to see him really engage someone in a meaningful conversation on any level. Everything that he says, like I said, he just talks in ad libs. Oh yeah, that's right. He doesn't add anything beyond that. If he does, hopefully as the show goes on, we'll see more. But from what I've seen, that's just my assessment of his conversation skills.
I'm a little bit on the fence about Carrie. Conversation that we had didn't flow as easy as some of the other conversation flow with some of the other ladies.
So, as far as, I'm trying to think. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I can't really fault Carrie on this one. I'm not sure what other conversations Dante's had where he says that, the conversation is flowing. We haven't seen it. Here we are in the 4th episode. We haven't seen him, like I said, engage anybody in conversation. A conversation takes two people. It's a give and take. I say one thing, you say another. Now, if he's not interested in Carrie, cool. That's fine. However, you can still hold a conversation.
I want this one to be special to you. What's a good cocktail name while I get to making it?
Let's go with To See Her.
To see her. Absolutely. The To See Her cocktail. Let's do it.
A good date is one where you bring that person into your element. Again, we talked about that on my last CM show where we talked about, do you know how to date? It's one of those things where if there's something you enjoy doing, bring that person along. Show them the things that you're passionate about. They're going to learn something not only about the activity or the venue, but they're also going to learn something about you. And because you're in your element, there's going to be a certain confidence. Like we've talked about, confidence is key as you do what it is you do. We see here that Frank brought in Tasia. I think he owns a liquor brand, but we know he's a mixologist of some kind because he created a drink. That's actually kind of cool. Now, is her personality conducive to that? Yeah, that's whatever. But bring that person in and then share in that experience.
So talk to me about this guard. What's that about?
I
you done saw me in a couple rounds, like the happy hour, the brunch, the mansion party, and so it's like it don't take that many times, Frank.
No, and that's why,
that's
why we're here, and that's why we're here.
One of my pet peeves is when somebody asks me a question, they cut me off as I'm giving the answer. It gets on my damn nerves. What I tend to do is, like, after a while, I'm just quiet because I'm like, all right, you don't need my answer. You're just gonna talk over me anyway. Tasia has a bad habit of doing that. It's like she asks a question, and in her mind, it's like, oh yeah, let me add on to the question. So what she does is she cuts off the person as they are answering the question that she asked them. She's done it on multiple times, and you can see it on Frank's face that he was kind of annoyed at it. He powered through, but you can kind of see it's like, okay, it's a bothersome thing. If you ask someone a question, especially as you're dating the person, you have got to give them the space and the grace to answer your question. It's rude and damn near disrespectful for you to cut somebody off as they're in the middle of talking, and Tasia's got a bad habit of doing that.
I would say this, I'm willing to compromise and I'm willing to learn to do what I can. Keep the smile on your face.
Okay. It's not hard to keep up my face, but once it's gone, then we have a problem.
Everything I want, I get. You heard me, right? Like, all right.
Naima and Zadia, I really didn't get too much from their date. There's definitely a connection there on some level. They're definitely feeling each other. Didn't really get anything that I can add per se. I wouldn't mind seeing them as they progress, but not really anything to add. I will say this though, Zadia's looking good. That lighting was like popping. I'm like, oh snap, the way it just lit her up. And she has such a beautiful smile. So when that blue light or whatever the hell light it was hits her skin and her, man, I was like, oh shit, that's hot. I gotta get to her. That lighting, man, it worked for her.
I want to be sure and have someone that's sure about me. Mm-hmm. And that wants to commit.
No, I hear you, and I'm with you, but I'm gonna get to know different people. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take my time and do this what I feel is the right way.
That kind of felt like a disclaimer or like an escape clause for both of them. They both let it be known that, hey, I like you, I'm interested in seeing where this goes. However, I'm also going to check out some other people as well. So if you see me, talking to somebody else, you already know what it is. I like that. I like the maturity of that. And they both understood where the other was coming from. I like how those two move with each other. I want to see, like I said, what develops with them down the line. But them two, they're all right.
Well, you know, I'm an entrepreneur also. So
Correct.
I have a tech startup. I left corporate almost a year today ago. And so that's really like the main focus of my life. I left corporate, but I now have like creative autonomy. I can say I want to work today, I don't want to work today. And so I work on my business. That's like the most important thing for me.
It's not every day you actually see the life just leave a man's eyes as he's talking with a woman. It's like you could see him just glaze over like, okay. But he kept the smile on his face, but there was no life behind the smile. You could just see he was like, okay. Yeah. It was fascinating to watch. And obviously there's just no kind of connection, no kind of spark between when it comes to him and her.
I'm obviously trying to put my best foot forward and show her that I could possibly be more romantically into her. But I'm also getting a slight weird vibe from her. And to be quite honest, every single time we start a conversation, it surrounds her professional life.
You know, people I climbed the corporate ladder early. So I had a master's degree at 22.
We spend a good part, even the majority of our lives at work. It doesn't matter whether you're a cog in some corporate machine or if you are an entrepreneur just grinding away, you know, at whatever your mission is, you know, whatever business endeavor you own, you know, that kind of thing. So we spend so much time in our life. However, we spend so much time in our life at work. However, work is not our life. There has to be a separate you beyond what you do. It's one of those things where if your job is your life, you're in for a world of hurt, because just ask them people that, you know, that worked at companies that made fax machines. You know, it's one of them things that, yeah, your job could be gone tomorrow, be it by technology or just be it by whatever. It's like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're going to have to shut our doors. We saw it happen so much when, you know, last summer, especially when so many businesses went bankrupt because they no longer had the customer base to support the business or service, that activity that they were engaged in. You are more than just your life, more than just work. So if all you have to talk about is work, you're not very interesting to the people around you and the potential people that you're seeking in the dating market.
Who are your friends? How do you have fun? Those are the conversations that I was hoping for. Hey, well, you know what? Follow me out. Maybe we see each other soon?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
You know damn well that man ain't trying to see her again. He is not interested in her at all. And he's right. He doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know the real her. He doesn't know anything about her. He doesn't know what her interests are, who she be with. He doesn't know any of those things, and he didn't get it from that conversation with her. Now, he tried to end it on a nice note or whatever, but honestly, in the time that she's sitting there talking about, he was literally bored, and he got bored with her, and there's nothing of value from his perspective would be gained from trying to pursue something with her.
Hey. How are you?
All right. You look great.
Thank you. You know, matching with the green.
You sure did.
Hello.
Oh,
I got the blue light and everything. How are you?
How you doing? You look nice.
Thank you.
Oh, you smell good.
So the fellas convened in the gentleman's lounge with Tommy, and after they went over their discussions, talked about the dates that they went on and all of that, they concluded that Carrie and Tessia are on the hot seat. Now, I'm not really surprised that either one of those two ladies find themselves where they do, because honestly, they didn't make any kind of deep connections, not even deep. They just didn't connect with any of the men on any level. And think about it, you have Corey there. So if you cannot connect with Corey, whew, you got problems.
You're a beautiful woman, you're an intelligent woman, but collectively the gentlemen really seem like they haven't been able to make as strong of a connection with you as they have with some of the other women.
Okay.
Yeah, so because of that, you know, we don't think at this time you're ready to love.
And with that, Carrie's journey has come to an end. I will say that I am very impressed with how Naeem delivered the news to Carrie, in that her journey has come to an end. He was straightforward. He wasn't, negative in any way. In fact, after he delivered the news and said what had to be said, in that, hey, your journey's coming to an end, he then uplifted her by saying, hey, look, your king is out there. It just doesn't, it's just not one of the men on the show. The way he did it, I got to applaud the brother for that. I will say this though, Tasia is going to be here for at least another 2 weeks because next week the women have control. So it's one of the men are going to be going home if they follow the format that they have been. So with that, the next 2 weeks, because Tasia has already been upset, for lack of a better word, because I want to say on the Mixer episode, she was on the hot seat then, and she was upset that how did she find herself in that situation. So I am really interested to see how she's going to comport herself moving forward. Y'all, this was an interesting episode. We got to see a lot of the people, how they interacted with each other, and I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes. Now, let me touch on a couple things I've got coming up. I want to go back, not this episode, but the episode prior, and talk about how Carrington, when he was asked the question about did he cheat, and I'm going to dig into that on the next CM show. We're going to be talking about, do you know how to cheat? Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun with it, but that's going to be the subject, the topic, the conversation on that particular episode of the CM show. So if you have not already subscribed, or make sure that you do, so that way you can be a part of the show. As always, you can join the conversation directly via Zoom. And, you know, if you got something to say, if you think I'm off base, if you think I'm hitting the nail on the head, you can jump in at any, you know, and be a part of the conversation. Y'all, please be sure that you follow me on social media. Every episode of Ready to Love, I do live tweet throughout that show. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at author Chris M. You can also follow me on Facebook at author Christopher Markland, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Christopher_Markland. Y'all, make sure you hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Tasia should have went home instead of Carrie? Also, where was Sabrina this episode? What's going on with that? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what you think about the review. If you like it, as always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hey, have a good week. I'll see y'all next time. Stay determined.